Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mr. English Podcast. I'm Emma, and today I want to ask you something very simple. What if 5 minutes every night changed your English? Not a course, not an app, not hours of study. 5 minutes before you sleep every night for 6 months.
It sounds too small to matter. Hey everyone, I'm James. And about a year ago, I would have agreed with you. Too small, too simple, not serious enough to make a real difference. And then I tried it. And I want to tell you what happened.
Today, James shares something he has not talked about publicly before. A habit so small, it felt almost embarrassing to admit. And a transformation so gradual, he almost did not notice it until the day he looked back and could not recognize where he had started.
3 things. Every night. That is all.
Welcome, wherever you are right now. This is Mr. English Podcast. Today is a quiet one, not a lesson, a story, and an invitation.
James, take us back to the beginning, before the habit, before the notebook. What was your English like? So, about a year ago, I was frustrated. Really frustrated. I had been working on my English for a long time. I had tried apps, I had taken classes, I listened to podcasts every day on the commute. And I was improving, slowly, but it never felt fast enough. It never felt like enough. And then a colleague suggested something. She did. She said, every night before you sleep, write 3 things in English. Just 3. A word, a feeling, an intention. 5 minutes maximum. And I thought, that is not serious. That is not going to do anything meaningful. But I was tired of trying bigger things that felt like they were not working. So I tried the small thing. And what was your first entry? I still have it. The notebook is still on my bedside table. I opened it on a Tuesday evening, and I wrote, word, frustrated. Feeling, tired. Tomorrow, nothing specific. That was it. 11 words. But I closed the notebook and I went to sleep. And the next night, I opened it again. That second night matters more than people realize. The second night is where most habits end. Most people try something once and feel nothing and stop. James opened the notebook again. That was everything.
For about 6 weeks, nothing obvious changed. The entries were short, often just a few words. Word, exhausted. Word, relieved. Word, curious. Feeling, today was hard, but I got through it. Feeling, I laughed more than usual, and I do not know why. Small things. Honest things.
And then something happened in a meeting.
Yes. About 6 weeks in, we were discussing a project, quite a complex one, and I was explaining a consequence of one of the decisions we had made. And I said, consequently, this affects the timeline significantly. And I moved on. And afterwards, a colleague said to me, you spoke really precisely today. And I thought, where did that word come from?
Where did it come from?
I had written it 3 weeks earlier as my word of the day. Consequently, meaning as a result. Sentence, I arrived late. Consequently, I missed the beginning. 3 weeks in a notebook. And then, without trying, it arrived in a real meeting at exactly the right moment. I had not practiced it. I had not looked it up again. I had simply written it once. And it stayed.
Friends, that moment, the word arriving without effort, That is what the first thing, the word of the day, does for you. You are not memorizing vocabulary. You are planting it. And 3 weeks later, it flowers. In a meeting, in a conversation, in a moment when you need it, without trying. And the second thing, the feeling. What happened with that?
In the beginning, the feelings were one word: tired, happy, relieved. Then they became one sentence. I felt tired, but also proud. Then they became something else entirely. By month 4, I was writing things like, I felt that particular kind of tired that comes from caring too much about something that did not work out.
Oh, James, that sentence.
That was a real sentence from a real evening after a real thing that did not go the way I had hoped. And when I wrote it, I felt something shift because English had just held something I had never been able to say in English before. A specific, nuanced, interior experience. Not just tired, not just disappointed. That particular kind of tired.
And people started to notice.
Colleagues, friends, people I spoke to regularly started saying, you express yourself very clearly, not just your thoughts, how things feel. And I had not taken a class. I had not studied emotional vocabulary. I had simply been writing one honest sentence every night about how my day felt. And the English had found its way into those feelings.
And 6 months in, what happened?
I read back from the beginning. I found that first entry. Word, frustrated. Feeling, tired. Tomorrow, nothing specific. And then I read the entry from the week I was reading, which said, word, luminous. I heard it in a podcast and it stopped me. Feeling, today I felt the particular satisfaction of finishing something I had been afraid to start. Tomorrow, I want to use the word luminous before the day ends, in a sentence that deserves it.
Same notebook, same person, 6 months.
I had not recognized how far I had come until I saw where I had started. The notebook showed me the distance, which, without the notebook, I would never have been able to see.
Because growth that happens slowly and consistently is almost invisible while it is happening. You only see it when you look back.
Exactly that.
Let us explain the 3 things clearly, so everyone listening knows exactly what to write tonight. Thing 1. One word that stayed with you today. Not a word from a list, a word from your life. A word you heard somewhere and noticed. A word you needed and could not find. A word someone used that stopped you. Write it. Write what it means. Write one sentence using it. That is all. The word will come back when you need it. It always does.
Thing 2. One feeling from today. In English, not a summary of events. A feeling. How did today feel? Not what happened. I felt proud. I felt invisible. I felt quietly satisfied. I felt more tired than the day deserved. It does not need to be long. It needs to be honest. Start with I felt and finish the sentence. Whatever comes is the right answer.
Thing 3. One intention for tomorrow in English. One sentence about how you want to show up in English tomorrow. I want to use today's word in a real conversation. I want to say good morning to someone I usually walk past. I want to speak before I feel ready. One intention. Small, specific, yours.
3 things. 5 minutes every night. That is the whole habit. Nothing more is required.
In those early months, I used to write the feeling in my first language and then translate it, which is why the early entries felt flat.
Wait, I used to write?
Oh, used to. With a D. I used to write. Past habit. Something I did regularly in the past, but do not do now. I used to translate. I used to write in my first language. Used to. Always with the D in the positive form.
Exactly. And friends, we covered this in day 4 of the grammar series. Used to plus base verb for past habits that have changed. I used to write in my first language. Now I write directly in English. The habit changed. The language changed. Used to marks both.
And that change, writing directly in English rather than translating, was when the feeling sentences started to breathe.
2 versions of tonight's 3 things. Say them out loud before you write them. Short version, A2. Thing 1. Today's word is happy. It means feeling good. Sentence: I felt happy when I finished my work. Thing 2. I felt tired today, but okay. Thing 3. Tomorrow I want to use one new word.
Long version, B1 to B2. Thing 1. Today's word is luminous. I heard it somewhere and it stopped me. It means bright and full of light. Sentence: she had a luminous quality that made everyone around her feel seen. Thing 2. Today I felt the particular satisfaction of finishing something I had been afraid to start. Thing 3. Tomorrow I want to use the word luminous before the day ends, in a sentence that deserves it.
Say your own 3 things right now, in your head or out loud, before tonight, so that when you pick up the pen tonight, the words are already waiting. James started with 11 words. Frustrated, tired, nothing specific. And 6 months later, he was writing about the particular kind of tired that comes from caring too much about something that did not work out, and about a word called luminous that stopped him somewhere in his day and that he wanted to use in a sentence that deserved it.
He had not studied harder. He had not taken a new course. He had not downloaded a new app. He had opened a notebook every night before sleep and written 3 small things. And the language had grown around his life, quietly, consistently, completely.
Tonight, before you sleep, find any notebook, any piece of paper, any notes app, and write 3 things. 1 word that stayed with you today. 1 feeling from today in English. 1 intention for tomorrow. That is all. That is where it begins. Not with the perfect conditions. Not when you feel ready. Tonight.
And if you do it tomorrow night as well, and the night after that, come back in 6 months and read the first entry and see how far you have traveled.
If today's episode stayed with you, please give it a like. Share it with one person who wants to grow in English but does not know where to start. The answer is 3 things. Tonight, subscribe to Mr. English Podcast for a new episode every week. And leave us a comment. Write your 3 things for tonight right here. We will read every single one.
3 things. Every night. That is how the language grows around your life. See you next time on Mr. English Podcast.